Hi, everybody. Welcome to part two of our special episodes of Tomorrow is Dead. I'm joined once again by the fantastic cast, Allison, Danny, and Steve. Um, we will not waste any time and we will jump right into it. Starting first and foremost with the quick recap. Um, Previously, we started with a Kit on her own uh, almost 2 years ago, just a few months after the events of the finale of season one, where Kit, being bitten and infected and convinced she was about to die, sacrificed herself to help her friends get away. Several months on, Kit endures and is finding herself in not so great mental state on her own, struggling to survive, struggling to stay ahead of the hordes, and struggling in her relationships with other people that she comes across, survivors. Um, Throughout all of this, Kit, plagued by visions of her friends long since departed from her life, uh, happened upon two survivors who were themselves in a distressing situation. And after a pretty near miss with some of the dead in a rest stop bathroom, the the trio managed to escape to safety and reconvene. Sort of Rowe and Howard giving Kit sort of a brief explanation of what they were doing, during which is rescuing a companion of theirs who had been left behind on a supply run and trapped, a medical expert of some sort, um, who they needed to help Rowe's younger sister, who is back with the rest of their group. Um, During this, Rowe recognized Kit as an individual that she'd heard of who could get to places other people generally couldn't. An individual who, um, sort of urban legend had begun to refer to as the Stray. Um, After agreeing to help these two, Kit and the others set off to towards the ruins of Denver and the outskirts where the hospital was, where this uh, unfortunate doctor was left behind, and they saw some strange sights in the form of a towering spire right through the middle of the downtown Denver. A spire that Kit and her friends had seen years earlier when everything had first started. But they proceeded on, making their way towards the hospital, uh, reasoning that there was not much to be done about the spire at the moment, weird as it was. But upon reaching the hospital, they found the outside of it swarming with some of the dead that Howard had been able to divert in his escape, now milling about the outside of the hospital and providing a barrier for the team to try to find their way inside and find this wayward companion. Um, in that moment, as they realized this, several of the dead arrived and separated the group. Kit sent the other two off running and turned to kind of go her own way and to work her magic. And that is where we left off. This episode, we will begin with, I believe we have a dearly departed monologue at the beginning of this one. So, Allison, whenever you are ready.
It's me again, Kit. In case you can't tell. To be honest, I don't know if you'd even recognize my voice anymore. It's been so long. I'd recognize yours, though. I mean, I hear you in my head all the fucking time. All of you. I guess it's better than accepting I might never hear you again. I feel like I'm going crazy. Not for hearing you guys. I guess most people do that in some way or another nowadays. I feel stupid because sometimes I reply. I keep doing this, even though it's probably pointless, but being the psycho bitch who talks into a dead walkie-talkie is better than being a dead bitch, I guess. I'm not so sure anymore. The dead leave me alone as long as I'm quiet and I keep my head down. They ignore me, same as the living always did. Like I don't belong with either anymore. I keep thinking about that day on the hill. You know what I mean? The last day of our camping trip. Just before we found out the world had already gone to shit and we weren't far behind. There was like an earthquake or something, and we all scrambled up a hill and we saw that rock thing, like way off in the distance. It wasn't supposed to be there, but it was there, and it was new. So much happened after that that I guess I didn't think about it much. But I saw one today, up close. And I guess it made me think about you guys. I looked right at it, and it was like, if I didn't know it was there, I don't know if I would have been able to see it again. It's like, okay, this part sounds crazy. It's like it didn't want me to see it. I wish I could hear Casey's wild ass conspiracies right now, but they'd be amazing. I hope you're out there. At least I think I do. Because being out there means at least I did the dumbest shit I've ever pulled for a good reason. I mean, you could be dead by now. Most people are at this point. You being out there means I should feel like it was worth it. But you being out there means you didn't come back for me. Means you're out there living your fucking lives totally okay with me being dead. I'm just a martyr to you. Story you tell, a fucking knife in your pocket. Either you're already dead and gone and I did this for nothing, or you're still out there and you just don't care. I don't know which is worse anymore.
All right. We will start. It is. I'm gonna say it's almost 3 years ago. And Rowe and Howard, you can hear the sounds of running footsteps as you sort of echoing behind you as you run through this this large sort of half-built warehouse. You can hear the shouts behind you as the people who tried to rob you not that long ago are in full pursuit of you. You can hear behind you the shouts of, "I think they went this way! Over here! Try to get around them!" as the two of you sort of hefting your newly filled backpacks over your backs, just sort of running. You sort of stop for a moment to take stock. Rowe, you notice a ladder that kind of like leads up into this, like the beams up into the beams of like the half-built warehouse, and also some like scaffolding that you might be able to get onto some adjoining buildings.
I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just gonna wave and then start moving towards it, tiptoeing.
Okay.
Really?
Howard, you see Rowe starting to move in that direction, and you kind of follow her gaze, and you can kind of see the ladder at least, as you start heading that direction. As Rowe, you grab the ladder, you hear a gunshot and the sound of like metal on metal as you look up towards the end of this sort of half-constructed warehouse. You see one of them holding a pistol pointed in your direction. Says, "I found him! They're over here!"
Oh, shoot.
Go, 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 go. Just keep moving, keep moving. They're probably terrible shots anyway. Come on.
Yeah. Going up the ladder, or are you going just running it?
Yeah, I
would say up.
We can go up, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You just start kind of climbing quickly, as you hear more like running footsteps from sort of echoing around this sort of industrial park that you cut through. As you climb up, Rowe, you find yourself kind of up on some sort of some metal grating that kind of is laid across as a kind of work area up on top. As you turn around, kind of giving Howard a hand up. Anything else that you're doing at this point?
Can I take, if I still have a shotgun with me, if I had one at that time, can I take a pot shot at them, trying to get them to kind of take cover since they already know we're here?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and give me a ranged combat roll.
That is one success.
Okay. You take a shot. You know, just even at a quick glance, you know that you didn't hit anybody. But as you fire, you hear kind of like somebody like shout in surprise, as you hear kind of footsteps sort of skidding to a halt down below somewhere. As you turn and kind of following where Rowe is sort of moving her way along, sort of pushing open one of the sort of skylights, ventilation type things up on the side, and pushing out onto the scaffolding on the outside.
Right before we kind of move out to the skylight, like if I hear them starting to run again, I'm just gonna try to yell in a different voice, "Grenade," and hope that they hit the deck.
Okay.
And then try to like throw like a rock or even like a tool or something out there and have a metal on metal tinking sound.
I'm gonna have you give me a manipulation roll here.
It's gonna be terrible. I'm terrible at these. Oh my god, I got a 6 on my little fireball die.
Oh my god. So you turn, kind of grabbing just like, I'd say that there's probably like some bolts around or something that you can just grab. You throw one, yelling "Grenade!" and like doing your best your best
other
attempt to
guy
disguise their voice, and you hear somebody else yell "Get down!" And you just like run, following Rowe, kind of bursting out of the onto the scaffolding.
We rolled 2 dice on that one. We rolled 2 dice.
Incredible. The two of you continue running, sort of leaping from the scaffolding, like onto the scaffolding on the adjacent building, managing to like sort of navigate these narrow planks that are sort of set across them. And you, it's a you run for a while as you like try to get away from them, kind of running across the rooftop, climbing back down when you can't do that anymore. You run kind of across the street to this place where you can see like a bunch of storefronts across what would have probably once been a busy highway. now is empty of all but stationary vehicles. As you cross to a storefront, kind of closing it behind you, just in time, kind of looking across, you can see a few of your pursuers coming, but you also see at that moment a group of the dead, drawn by the weapon's fire, who are coming. As you slam the door behind you, you see one of them. I'd say, who would be in the back? Who would be closing the door?
I probably would be closing the door. I'd probably make sure that Howard would make sure that Rowe was at least in between, like bodies in between them.
Sure. So Howard, as you're closing the door, you see one of the pursuers who didn't notice the dead coming. You see that moment of realization click as his determined look of pursuit turns into one of panic and like alarm and then panic. As he like turns and runs towards you, you close the door. Yeah. You hear the sounds of weapons fire. You hear the sounds of the dead outside. You hear then the sound of somebody just on the outside come and start slamming on the door. He's like, come on, hey, let me in, please, please. Just banging on the door. And the sound of the dead just right behind, just like, oh god, no! And then he just, you hear the sound of just screaming as weapons fire is discharging out right outside the door, and then you don't hear anything, but the dead.
Yeah, Howard kind of has like a kind of glazed over look on his face at this point, and is kind of just looking at Rowe as they're doing this, like trying to keep eye contact. He knows better. I think originally, whenever this started happening, he tried to get them or their sister to kind of earmuff it to stop all the screaming noises. But at this point, it's been so long at this point that they kind of just make eye contact, and he just kind of leaves for a little bit, but pressing against the door with his body to make sure if shots go through, it has to go through him in the backpack first.
Okay. Yeah. You wait, just sort of catching your breath just long enough in this little abandoned storefront to ensure that there are no more pursuers left. Before moving on. Before we'll cut ahead a little ways, a little ways after that, as you are returning to the dojo, and as you are sort of you reach the front door and you knock, pause, and then you knock again. The door, you hear the sounds of stuff moving on the inside, and then the door opens just a little bit, just a little crack. And Rowe, you see your sister's, like the familiar eye of your sister just sort of peeking out. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, let us in.
She opens up the door a little bit wider so that you can kind of squeeze in.
Oh God, squeezing in. This was such a stressful run. Come on, Howard, get in. Close it.
Okay. You sort of find yourselves once again, as the door closes, you move the sort of the barricades and debris that you have used to keep it secure in front of it once again. Danny, remind me, what was Rose's sister's name again?
Candace.
Candace. That is what I thought. I just wanted to make sure that I was
Cool.
I was right. Candace sort of like looks up at you, Rowe, and just says, "Did you find anything good?"
Let's see. And I'll rummage through and take stock of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she will also is very quick to get her hands in everything and just starts kind of pulling out some stuff that you got. Some of it is bandages, things like that. Some of it is there's a whole pack of zip ties in there that you guys found, and just start pulling out little canned goods and stuff. you can see that like when she pulls out like a jar of like maraschino cherries, you can see that her eyes light up, and she's like, "You found some."
Yep. Last jar.
Can I open it?
Of course.
She like pops the jar lid and then just reaches in and just takes one and just it's so
Don't
good.
eat it all in one go.
I won't. And she like seals the jar again, just kind of like clutches it to her chest. They Rowe looking at her very like just excited about this jar of cherries almost makes you forget about the sounds that you heard on the other side of that door. And the price that was paid for these. But she, after a while of sort of sorting through goods, she sort of Candace settles herself down back kind of on her sleeping bag bedroll, and just kind of writing in her little journal. As the two of you have all of your newfound goods in front of you, staving off hunger and thirst for a little while longer, the reality of your situation sort of begins to settle over the two of you, which is that now it's been long enough that any water that was still running in this area is gone. Any food supplies have been raided either by you, by others, or have been spoiled by the passage of the dead. It is becoming very clear that the area around the dojo is not going to be safe for very much longer.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna have to move on soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the same. We're gonna have to get Candace and us packed up, and don't let me forget, we have to go back where we just were and see if we can pick up any of the guns or things that were dropped from the people that were after us. Hopefully we can go by there and pick up any more pistols or stuff, and then we gotta find someplace to trade, or to find more people, or at least someplace with water.
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's go get the guns.
Yeah, but don't tell your sister quite yet, because I haven't found all the pieces yet. And he holds up like a small cartridge, like a legally distinct Nintendo Switch cartridge, completely different but the same. I've started finding some of these cartridges. I think like this system that this went for, it had a really good battery pack. I think if I can find the system itself and a solar charger, that we can have her have something else. I didn't have one of these when I was younger, and so if we can find something cool like that, don't tell her. I've collected some of the games and stuff, but I think it'll be something worthwhile. Maybe at least something good.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks.
But and he hands over the cartridge. So start holding on to these. They don't take up much space. It's like the size of a postage stamp. So we probably can't find it, but if I come across one, or if we can steal one, or I can trade for one, then let's find some people to trade with, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if it gives us anything to look forward to, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's let her hang out with her cherries and make a larger meal to get some calories in the two of you, and then we'll kind of head out probably maybe in the morning. We got to see. I'll head outside and see what the swarms look like, and then we'll make a plan from there.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
at this point, we'll cut back to the present moment as the two of you are sort of once again running the sounds of the dead kind of in the vicinity, but you manage to duck into a little like a little outbuilding at the hospital, just like probably like a little like maintenance shed. As you duck inside for a moment, you kind of wait, and you can see like the ones that were immediately pursuing you just sort of pass by. Rowe, you kind of like just sort of instinctually reaching into like a pouch at your belt, checking to make sure those cartridges are still in there, and kind of like fumbling with them a little bit in the pouch. In this moment, the two of you now actually technically on the hospital grounds. You look at basically the task in front of you. As this hospital, it's not a large building, but it is sort of, at least not a tall building, but it does sort of spread out a little bit, and it kind of takes up basically like a whole block, at least, possibly two. It's hard to tell from here because it could just as easily be like a kind of a long plot. But you kind of are starting to get an idea of the task that is in front of you. But for the moment, it seems that you are safe. So, what would you like to do?
Last place I left Doc was, he said it was in kind of the research area, and I think it was in the middle someplace. Boy, I don't want to ask for a roll, so I can try to remember where it was. Would that be would I roll wits for that?
Yeah,
to try to remember?
I think I'd give you a wits roll on this one.
Okay, because I don't want to just like I like with my lower number on this. I think it's better that he try to remember, but then fail at it, because he totally failed at it.
Okay, yeah. That being the case, you kind of think through it for a moment, and you remember that you were in like where they do like lab work and stuff like that, but you're not, like, you remember seeing that sign.
Yeah.
But you don't remember the exact location within the hospital, and in fact, looking at it from this angle, you're pretty sure this isn't even the side of the hospital you exited on.
I left from a different spot. I know it was in the research part, but I'm sorry, I can't tell from where we are, and he kind of lets that just kind of trail off.
Let's see here. You know what? I think it's probably, we can figure it out. In hospitals, they always have like the signs that tell you where to go. So we can just get inside wherever we think is a good entrance, and then just follow the sign.
And Lucas, we both saw that the zombies did not chase after Chess, right? Like they kind of just.
Yeah, you both clearly saw that.
Okay.
They went right past her, and went straight for you two.
I don't. It might be my mind playing tricks on me, but they did not see our friend, did they? Like, they only went for us. And with as much as I've seen, I don't know that that's entirely normal. I'm glad they're helping, but something's not okay with Checkers.
I mean, they're a little abrasive, yeah, but
regardless, I'm not going to bring it up because they're helping. I don't care. They're helping, and they don't gotta. So we'll keep them with us as much as we can, but if and when we get through this, we gotta at least find out what's up. Gotta make sure, especially if we bring them home, we gotta make sure they're safe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what makes you think they're dangerous?
Being on the streets long enough, even before this, it's something out of the ordinary. Like it just twinges that point that the dead should have been looking at them too, and they weren't. And there's a lot of tricks, if they have a cool trick that they've figured out, more power to them, and if that's just something, I don't know. Maybe they just smell different. Maybe there's a lot of weird things in the world, and I don't understand 75% of them.
Yeah,
So
right.
I just just be aware. That's all. Or we'll look after them just as much as we look after each other.
Of course.
All right. Enough chit chat and hugging. Let's go.
Here we go.
Okay.
And I think we'll check to see if this part of the hospital is safe to enter.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't one of you give me a scout roll? One of the two of you. We'll get to chess in a second.
I have no.
I have no scout either. We're perfect for this. I have 3 in wits and no scout.
Same. Wow.
Okay. Well, I have rolled out. I have rolled a couple times, so we're gonna let Rowe
All right.
roll.
And if you want, you can add one
Okay.
die for Howard helping.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
That would be good.
So shoot, how many do I roll for not having any? Just
You roll just whatever your it's wits, right? So whatever your wits is, and if you don't have nothing in the skill itself, then that's fine. And then you add Howard's, and if you have any gear that might assist, some things might have like a gear bonus for scouting specifically, but
no, I don't have
Okay.
anything that's gonna help us. No
Okay.
sixes. I get 2 1s.
Great. Actually, that's a good point, and I realized this that you both have a point of stress, which I should have
Sweet.
had you roll before, but it's fine. Go ahead and add another stress die.
Adding the stress die, still no
Okay.
nothing.
But no ones, not a 1 on the stress die.
No.
Okay,
No.
cool.
This is just watching us just run back.
Back and forth.
Now, Ro, as you
You're
like,
They're
you
kind
kind
of
of like peek out from the shed and kind of look. You see an entrance to the hospital, but unfortunately, you can see that it seems to be like barred from the outside, and inside you can see like the doors themselves are like bowing outwards because of the press of the dead on the inside.
Yeah.
Which, so, technically an entrance, probably not the one you want to go with.
Yeah.
We're gonna see if we can find a window to the side or someplace like that where we can kind of shimmy in from there.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, and I would like for both of you to give me some stealth rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see
All right.
here.
Those are not bad. Oh, stress die.
Yeah. Grab it on my gun.
That's 2
No,
successes.
Nice.
I got 2.
Hey.
And sorry, Danny, you said none?
None.
Okay, so the nice thing about stealth is that stealth can, I believe, is one of the skills that additional successes can be transferred to other people. So, basically,
You get
like,
a stealth.
it's the kind of thing where, like, as Rowe is about to, like, is sort of timing and about to dart from behind a car to, like, the hospital, Howard, like, sees some dead coming, grabs you and pulls you back, as, like, they just sort of, like, pass by right where they would have seen you, and then sort of, like, turn back and continue, and you kind of wait them out for a second, and then you both kind of push on. You, manage to kind of wend your way over to the hospital wall where as sort of skirting, you have to skirt alongside the hospital wall for a bit, kind of taking cover every now and then as like one or two of the dead sort of walk past you, and then continuing on, you eventually do find a a window that probably wasn't ever intended to open far enough to allow any ingress or egress, but right now it looks damaged enough that it's just kind of like hanging loosely on its hinges in within the actual like window frame, uh just a little bit above where like to the point where you will probably have to like lift yourselves up into it, but it should be able to, like Howard kind of reaching up and testing it, it just swings easily. You probably won't even have to contend with removing it.
Nice.
Cool.
Howard would probably climb up first to kind of almost like poke a head in to kind of look and make sure that it's safe, or if it's not safe, go and punch what in the face, whatever is in there.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of crawl up, kind of lifting yourself up into the window and pulling yourself kind of head first into the room. Um, what you find here is it seems to be an office rather than any sort of like patient's room or anything like that. There is a desk that has been sort of. It was apparently at one point shoved up against the door, but now is sort of at an angle where it's. And the door itself leaning on the desk, having been pushed clean off of its hinges. Um, but as other than the sort of dried red-brown bloodstains that uh, give you a fair idea of this room's former occupants' efficacy at barricading, there appears to be no immediate threats in the room.
Okay. With that, he's going to kind of like sit back up on the window and reach down and try to pull Rowe through.
Okay. Yeah. Easily, no issue. You managed to kind of pull Rowe up and into the room with you. As the two of you sort of stand crouching, just sort of listening, you can hear the sounds of like the kind of gurgling grunts of the infected in the hospital echoing through the halls. And yeah. As you listen for a moment to make sure that you're going to be okay, you proceed out kind of into the hallway and begin trying to navigate through the corridors of this hospital. We'll cut back over to Kit as you, Kit, are just sort of walking through the dead that have kind of, that sort of dot the outside of the hospital, sort of taking kind of like a longer way around. Where are you headed towards?
Where is the biggest like concentration of them?
It looks like kind of by the where like the emergency room entrance would have been. So like the place where there's like where like the ambulance bay, where they would have where the ambulance would come in on an emergency, and like right next to it there's like the large double doors to the emergency room with a small set of stairs and a ramp leading up to it. That's probably where there's the most of them, as it kind of empties out into like the largest open area, which is just a big parking lot.
How close is that to where? Did I see where they went in?
I think you might have.
Was I able to?
Yeah, I think you probably would have been able. Like, you were not under duress, so you had the freedom to kind of watch where they went. Um, I'd say you lost sight of them for a moment, but eventually you saw them sneaking in on kind of the opposite side, or not opposite, but like the adjacent wall from where the large concentration of them are.
I'm gonna kind of move into the crowd, close to the entrance then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to move some of the crowd away from them.
Okay. Then
I believe it's a survival roll.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
With
Thank
the
you.
talent that I have.
Yes. So go ahead and give me a survival roll. And remember, you have one stress
One
die.
stress.
Yes.
Yep. I have the dice ready for this one. That is one success.
Okay. With that, you sort of, it's something that I think you've probably only attempted once before. But you begin kind of blending in with the crowd, so to speak, and kind of at first you're moving with them, and kind of like mimicking their movements, and then after a moment you sort of start leading them rather than following. And at first it's just one or two as you sort of start moving in kind of a spiral motion, kind of outwards. But before long, you're able to tell that you're not just moving with the crowd is moving with you. As you sort of doing this almost in like it's almost like when you watch like snakes like hypnotizing their prey, that kind of movement where they kind of do this sort of weird kind of thing. It's like that a little bit, and then the kind of the motions that you're making around. But eventually, when you feel confident that you've gathered enough of them, that the rest of them will just sort of follow. What would you like to do?
I'm going to lead them. Are the doors open, like for the?
Yeah, you can see. It's basically
okay.
like they would have been like sliding, like automatic glass doors,
Okay.
that are basically fully shattered. Like they are just you can see the glass shards scattered all over the pavement.
So I'm gonna try to like make sure that I have enough like from inside as well. Like if there's some in that entry corridor, and I'm going to pull them around into the open parking lot, like around the side of the building.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, you are able to kind of gather kind of a thick knot of them around you as you almost very subtly, it's not at all like playing the harp, but it's that same kind of like knowing which string and where to pluck. Leading them is kind of a similar process as, as you're moving
Gently like nudging one very
exactly.
slightly and like
Yeah. And then as you see one starting to like lead off a group, you notice that a small group is following this one. You edge your way over towards them and quickly gain control once again and start kind of moving them back. Not unlike what a sheepdog does. Sort of you, over the course of the next several minutes, become essentially like a shepherd of the dead, guiding them where you want them to go. There is... Okay, here's what I want you to do. There's a moment where a memory comes back to you just sort of very just intrusively, and I want you to roll to handle your fear here. I want you to roll, this is going to be a wits or empathy, your choice. You do not add your stress to this.
Okay. I have 3 wits and 2 empathy, so I'm going with wits, but
Fair enough.
there are no successes there.
Okay. Kit, there's a moment where at first you're almost reveling in this ability that you've found. Even the last time you attempted this, it didn't work as well as it is working now, probably because there weren't as many of them, and so the effects were not as dramatic. But as you are leading them through the parking lot, there's almost a moment as you're realizing that you are basically controlling a horde in a small way, and then it snaps you back to a moment very suddenly that busts in where you saw very clearly a horde being controlled by someone else, by something else. And as you remember that, you remember the pinstripe figure barely visible in the thunder and lightning flashes of that storm. You remember seeing that, and you remember being in the van driving away as you heard the horn of the car that Gabby was trapped in honking, disappearing into the distance. And it's only a moment, Kit, but it is a long enough that when you come back to yourself in that moment, you realize that you have stopped moving, and the horde has sort of started to kind of sort of scatter a little bit more. Whatever hold you had over them, you lost it in your momentary lapse.
How far did I get?
They are still continuing on roughly the trajectory you were leading them on, but they are no longer controlled, and they're starting to kind of scatter a little.
I'm gonna sneak back towards wherever I saw them going then.
Okay.
I feel like the face just keeps like, I just keep seeing the face.
Yeah. All right. Then, oh, that's not what it did. It'll work for now. Howard and Rowe, inside, you are sort of crouched next to a corner, a sort of like T intersection in the corridors. Kind of, I imagine it like you're just kind of crouched below the counter at the nurse's station. And as you're sort of looking down the hallway, you can see there's a small cluster of the dead that they're not moving too much. Mostly they're just kind of they're standing eerily still. It's a thing you've seen them do before, but it's never less disconcerting when you see them just kind of standing, swaying slightly. You can hear, even from this probably 50 feet away, you can kind of hear the sounds of their sort of rasping gasps echoing down the hallway towards you. But they are in your path.
How many are there?
There's about 5 of them.
All right.
I mimic like
We can
throwing
try.
something to like in a direction.
Is there a way we can stay behind the nurse's station and throw like an empty can or something farther
Yeah.
down the hall?
Yeah, for sure. You're able to kind of duck back behind the nurse's station, where you actually do find like the like a toppled over recycling can, basically, where you find all these like tin cans in there that you sort of grab and start like taking them. I'm trying to decide if this is gonna be. I'd say you can make precision's not involved here, so I
guess what I think Howard wants to do is to actually keep all the cans, like 3 or 4 of the cans, in this recycling bin and try to huck the whole recycling bin
Okay.
down the hall to get them to go farther.
Okay,
And so when the
gotcha.
recycling bin hits, it falls out onto the floor.
Cool. In that case, then I think I'm gonna have Howard specifically make a. I think this is. I'm not sure this would be. It's either going to be a force or it's going to be just strength, but I'm going to go with it's just force. It's going to be a force
Okay.
roll.
All right. So I add my strength to that, right? With a force
Correct.
roll.
Yep. So you add your strength, you add your force, and your stress die.
5, 7. That is only 1 success.
All right. 1 is what you needed. As you take this this recycling can, very, very, like, carefully putting some of the spilled contents back into it as you pick it up and then just throw it down the hallway. You can hear as it, at first nothing, as it sails through the air and then hits the ground with a plastic thunk, and then a clattering of metal cans just sort of scattering all over the tile flooring. Rowe, kind of keeping like an eye around the corner on the dead, you see them instantly react as they and they kind of turn and start heading towards the sound, moving down kind of away from you towards where kind of Howard threw this. They circle kind of around the other side of the nurse's station as the two of you duck down inside the sort of almost octagonal countertop that you kind of crouch down there listening to them pass by. I would say it would be about at this moment as you're like waiting, you kind of wait for like what seems like hours for them to pass by, but is probably only about a minute or so. You as you're sort of sitting there waiting, you see a figure step in behind the nurse's counter, and you both have like a momentary like heart attack. And you see Chess standing there.
Welcome.
Yeah, we were just getting them to move. Okay, anyways, we should keep going. Stand up and look at the signs and see if there's anything in regards to, I think you said it was research.
Yeah, basically just like the labs like where they do lab work and things like that, blood work and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right by the nurse's station is exactly where there would have something like that. So I'd say it's easy enough to sort of step on over to it. It probably is not on the wall anymore, but you're able to kind of pick it up off the ground and like looking at this thing, you can see that the labs are just a little ways kind of in the direction where that had previously been obstructed by the dead that now have moved off a ways to investigate the source of the clattering noise. It's a little ways further that way and up about I'd say it's up 2 floors.
Sounds about right. All right, let's go.
Yeah, let's find a stairway. We'll use like the fire like escape routes.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one on the wall to find like a stairwell where we can go up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Just because it helps to amp up the tension, Danny, why don't you go ahead and make more rolls for me? I'd like you to make... I think this is probably going to be a wits roll here.
Okay, yeah. Okay. It's our one stress die. No successes.
No successes.
That
okay.
was a really rough roll.
Okay. You're able to kind of find, like, looking at this map, you're able to find the fire escape routes, as they're clearly marked with like a red line through, like, showing you how you're supposed to go. You find the nearest entrance to one, and as you go up to it, you kind of peek up, looking through the kind of the small window set into the middle of the door, looking in, and you can see that the stairwell, the fire escape stairwell, is packed with the dead. Where even if they didn't attack you on sight, there's a good chance it's basically a meat grinder in there at this point because of how packed it is. You'd be, if not crushed, knocked down and trampled. It is not good.
I'm like, no go, and back we go.
All right.
And
Yep.
yeah, can we keep heading to, because they're usually at like opposite sides of build. Can we keep heading down? Is it like a long hallway where we can reach the next set of stairways or something along those lines?
Yeah, you could. And you also see that, like, much closer than that, you also do see that technically there are still elevators. They will not function, probably, most likely, but they might have some sort of like service ladder or something like that if you can get into them. So that's also an option that you can see just from looking at this thing.
Howard will look over to Chess and been like, you're better at this. You got to vote. Should we check another stairway or should we check the service ladder for the elevators?
want to look above the elevators. Is it like a dial or is it like an electronic sign that
It
would
would
have
be
been a floor number?
an electronic one.
Okay.
And this hospital is probably, honestly, at its highest point, probably has 4 floors maximum, but the majority of the hospital is 3 floors. There's probably just like small sections of it that are a little taller than that.
Is it just one elevator, or are there like multiples in the same?
There's 2 in
corridor?
this immediate area right here where you are. And just I'm not even gonna make you roll for this. There you can definitely hear the sounds of movement from inside one of them.
Check the other stairs first.
Okay, let's go.
All right. You move off across the hospital, and at this point, I would like for the 2 of you to make stealth rolls, Rowe and Howard.
Stealth. There we go. Come on, please stop rolling so bad. Way better, but still no successes.
I got 2. Don't worry. I got
Oh my
2.
God.
Even on my baby stress dice.
Bless.
All right. This time I'm gonna say it's probably like Howard sort of like directing Rowe around like just like there's I kind of imagine that this hospital has like attempts at barricades where there's just like desks and tables and wheelchairs and like equipment and whatever that was like
Hospital beds.
Yeah, hospital beds that was all just like sort of pulled out into the hallway to make like a makeshift barrier at the very least, possibly as a last ditch attempt to escape. And I'd say like it's a matter of like kind of crawling over some of this stuff, and Howard sort of like coaching Rowe through it, like, okay, no, don't touch that, that's loose, that's gonna fall, like that kind of stuff. And yeah, so you're able to kind of stealthily make your way from one end of the hospital to the other, sort of across sort of the narrow ways, because this hospital, as you were looking at the map of it, you can see that it is in fact kind of a large L shape, a complex that does in fact take up about 2 blocks in length, and so kind of crossing the narrow part of the hospital, you're able to reach the staircase on the other side. And as you do, Howard, I'm going to say that you recognize this area. This is a place that you... this is where you were when you realized that you were not going to be able to get to the doctor.
All right. I recognize this place. This is kind of where we got separated. So, good news and bad news. That means this might be one of the places that I kind of got them cleared out a little bit from chasing me.
Okay.
But it also might be where they're stacked up, another spot where they're stacked up. So we're either fine or we're gonna die, just like any other day.
Great. Well, I have this rifle if we need it. I just really hope we don't have to use it.
No.
I'll take a look.
Not yet. Okay. And Howard will back up and let Chess do their stuff.
All right.
I want to sneak ahead.
Okay.
Stealth if possible, but yeah.
For sure. You are able to kind of walk up towards the door leading to the staircase, to the stairwell, and you can kind of peek inside the little like security glass window set into the door, looking inside. Hard to do as the inside of it is smeared with dried blood, but you kind of you cup a hand and put it to the glass, looking inside. Inside, you note that there are, thankfully, only 3 that are in any way moving around. 2 of which are standing, and the third seems to be sort of dragging itself along the ground as it is missing both of its legs. You also recognize that there is a part of the stairwell, or of the staircase, that has collapsed, but you could probably, given the safety and the luxury of time, you could probably navigate it.
I can't see beyond the crumbled stairs though.
No, as it doesn't go straight up. It's basically one of those rectangular that kind of starts to go up like this and then switches back and just kind of zigzags up. That said, I will say, just by looking at the crumbled staircase, extremely unlikely that any of the dead would be able to navigate the same thing. So the rest of the stairwell is probably, at least on this floor and the next one up, probably pretty clear.
I'm gonna go back down the hall. So I see them. I'm gonna crouch down. You guys can handle 2, right? Well, 2.5.
Yes. Without a doubt.
Okay. Stairs are broken, but I'll probably get up there anyways.
We'll climb up it. Just, I can go first and take down at least the 2 standing, and then if someone can grab the half, whatever the half, I'll see what the half is, but go from there.
I might be a little sweaty from climbing, but I'll try.
Are you any good in the fight?
It's literally the only thing I do.
And you?
You know, it depends on what I'm fighting.
I'm gonna stand up and crack my neck. I'll stay close to her.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you make your way up to the door. Howard, you can kind of looking in, you can see what Chess saw. Are you kind of bursting in, or are you just taken by surprise, or do you want to try to get the jump on him?
Yeah, we're gonna try to just get him by surprise and just go in and hopefully, he'll kind of look, and if they're kind of milling around, he's gonna try to wait until their backs to him and go in swinging.
Okay, sounds good. With that, then I think you can wait. Go ahead and give me a close combat roll, Howard. And sorry, who's taking? Danny, is Rowe taking the other one, or?
Yeah, she'll try.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay with her. I'm
Okay.
gonna have my hammer out.
Sounds good. All right, then.
Cool.
Are you doing the close combat as well, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you can add one from Chess.
Okay.
Only got 2 successes.
Nope.
A little sad.
Danny.
Oh no.
Okay, so you got 2 successes, Steve?
Yep.
All right.
Out of 11 dice.
So.
That was 11 dice.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right. So, Steve, real quick, tell me how you take these 2 down.
As you see Howard kind of slip through the door, for the most part, Howard wanders around kind of looking like he doesn't know what he's doing. He does that on purpose. When he goes through the door, it changes quite a bit, and his movements get quite smooth and almost graceful, to the point that he slips in past the door, only opens it just enough as he kind of needs to get in, opens the door, goes in, and then you see a full roundhouse kick take down the first one, shattering its neck and skull, and then follows it up with 2 or 3 jabs into the back of the. And within, they almost drop almost at the same time.
Yeah. The second one, as you like with those 2 jabs, you send it careening off balance as it just like if there was any chance that the second one was going to survive the barrage, it is ended immediately when it topples into like some jagged rubble from the collapsed stairs, head first, and doesn't move. The third one, the one on the ground, pulls itself towards Rowe as you reach and you go to attack. Is it a knife? You have a knife or?
You know, I have a gun, so
Okay,
I would
so it's probably
an
like
assault
a
rifle. So
yeah.
it's trying to bludgeon it.
Yeah. So you go in, you hit it, but it's still moving. You hit it again, it's still moving. It grabs you around the ankle and starts like pulling itself towards you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I swing at it?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a close combat.
Cool. That is okay. Cool. That's one.
So for the purposes of mechanics, this counts as a walker attack now that you didn't quite get the jump on this one. So, yep.
That is 2 successes.
Excellent. So as it reaches for you, Rowe, you sort of stumble back trying to get away from it, and that almost kind of trips you up a little bit as you sort of stumble into the wall, catching yourself. And as it goes for your ankle, pulling your leg towards it, and just Kit, there's a moment where you just have that visceral memory of the same thing happening to you, and then you act, hammer down once, twice, and it's still.
Hit it one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stand up.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Because I saw Chess do it last time, they'll do a quick once over the bodies and see if there's anything on them.
Sounds good. Also, just for the sake of this, Rowe, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give you another point of stress as a result of that. So, let's see. Howard, give me a real quick survival roll, Howard.
I'm just like wiping zombie goo off myself right now.
That's 2 successes.
Oh my god.
Got the little baby die and the little fireball. I'm forever using this fireball die.
Oh
I don't care.
God. All right. Go ahead and give me a 666 roll.
134.
I like how I was like, yes, and I have no idea what that means.
Yes, it's a good roll. It's one of my favorites. The 134. It's a good vintage.
Okay. I think that I'm gonna make you roll that again.
Okay.
Because that doesn't make any sense.
Okay. 561.
561. All right. Let's see. Scroll down.
134 was actually a new puppy.
Interesting. You find a bottle of lighter fluid. It probably wasn't on one of them, but it looks like it was probably just on the floor, underneath some of the rubble. But yeah, you find a bottle of lighter fluid. I'd say it's probably about half full.
Okay. All right. He will hand that over to Rowe. Sit here.
Yeah, it's one of those like
probably hold on to this.
Like quart size, like the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stick it in my bag.
Okay.
Make sure it's not leaking all over everything.
Now that you've dealt with the occupants of this small enclosed space, you can kind of close the door to the rest of the hospital behind you, and you now have the freedom to kind of navigate the collapsed staircase.
Okay. Yep. Howard will try to start climbing up and try to find a path.
Okay. There is just enough of the staircase still attached to the wall that you can probably skirt your way up without having to jump it. It's not that high up, so if you fall, you're not risking like serious injury, but there's a chance if you land badly, you might hurt yourself in some way. Um, so, especially with the rubble all underneath there as well. Um, so as I'm gonna say, for the sake of this, as you are kind of looking up at this staircase and the task in front of you, I actually think this is a pretty good place to take a break. It's a little bit on the early side, but I think we're just right on the cusp there. So I think this is a good moment to take that. So we're gonna go take a little break. Go ahead, everybody, and stretch, get some water, do what you gotta do. We will be right back in about 10 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. right, welcome back, everybody. We are back from our break, where I inhaled a little bit of water, so excuse me for just... I'm okay now. After, 31 years of drinking liquids, you think I'd have figured it out by now.
Joke's on you.
When we left off, the trio had infiltrated the hospital, snuck past the majority of the dead within its halls, and made their way to a broken staircase that will hopefully lead them to the hospital's labs, where Howard claims to have last seen the doctor. I believe where we left off, you guys were trying to navigate the broken staircase. So, in any other genre, this wouldn't be worth a roll, but in this genre, it's absolutely worth the rolling. So, we're gonna go ahead and, so I know you said it before, but I'm gonna ask again, how do you proceed up the, sort of across the gap? It's probably about a 5 or 6 foot gap.
I think Howard's gonna go and try to find a path across, and then try to help Rowe from there.
Okay.
And I think at this point, it's just for context, Howard doesn't they'll look out after Rowe, but they actually a lot of times defer to Rowe in a lot of situations, like getting through places or what to do. They will always confer with Rowe. And if it hasn't been said before, if this was like a restaurant, Howard's kind of the meat and potatoes, and he trusts Rowe to literally be everything else, from the front of the staff to the cook to the chef to the hostess to absolutely everything else. They are just simply the motor that moves the bus, and they depend on Rowe for pretty much everything else. So this isn't one of those that they're having they don't necessarily treat Rowe with kid gloves, but they have just been with each other for a while. So that's more of the dynamic, and not Danny
Rowe
just
does
rolling
need the
bad.
help.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Kit, you're sort of starting to pick up on that dynamic a little bit, where before you weren't really sure, other than the fact that they knew each other before, you weren't really sure who these people were to each other exactly, or how they operate. But I think at this point, you're starting to kind of pick up on this dynamic.
Yeah.
Where
I'm getting a big brother, little sister vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Howard, you kind of walk up the amount of staircase that is probably only the first 6 or 7 stairs, where you can see from where you were standing looking up, you can see where basically all the way at the very top of the stairwell, you see where the railing, all of this is like cement stairs, but you can see where the railing, which is up to about probably midriff, is also a concrete sort of thing, and then it's an actual metal railing above the rest of the way. Okay. But you can see way up on top where that was busted through, and something must have fallen, and that's what broke the staircase here. And kind of looking down into the rubble underneath you, it's not exactly clear, but whatever it was probably ended up buried in that rubble, or maybe it was moved. It's hard to say. But from where you're standing, you, Howard, can probably pretty easily jump the distance. And anyone else who wouldn't be able to do that would probably be able to skirt what little is left of the stairs there. It'll be a bit precarious, but quick examination tells you it looks sturdy enough to try, at least.
Yeah, Howard's gonna try that jump across, and they're gonna kind of scan the area for any like old like busted like extension cords or something, a non-live wire that they can either toss down as like a guide or something like that. That's what they're hoping for in the best case scenario. But other than that, they're gonna kind of, if they make it across, take their bag and stuff off so they have a better chance of reaching one of them in case they slip.
Okay. Go ahead and. I have to double check because I think I'm going to go ahead and say. Let me just check real quick. I think this is going to be a mobility roll. Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Okay. This is going to be a mobility roll.
3, 5, 1 stress die. No, they did not make that.
Okay, so here's how this plays out, I think, as Howard kind of steels himself for the jump, just sort of like, you jump across, and you, like, at the last second, as you're trying to, you plant your foot at just the wrong spot that slips, and you don't get quite the lift that you needed, and you catch the broken end of the stairs right in the chest as you grab on to kind of like the railing up on top. You're just kind of like hanging, just sort of like, coughing from the impact and from the dust that it sort of like kicks up. Yeah, what's up, Allison?
I would also like to jump across.
Okay, go ahead and give me that mobility.
Yep.
She's like a gazelle.
That's okay. Cool. Oh, that's only one success.
Okay, you're able to like, as you see Howard sort of catch himself and just sort of like hanging on, just sort of barely kind of scrabbling for purchase, you leap across, sort of landing up, and you kind of reach down.
Yeah. He will definitely take the help.
Yeah.
To yank him up.
Yeah, you're able to to pull him up. You got a bit of like little scraped up on the kind of like in the chest, but you're okay.
Yeah, he'll kind of do another cough and said, "Appreciate it, thanks."
Okay. Rowe, how are you trying to skirt what the broken stairs that are there, or are you also going to try to jump across?
I like look down.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I'm gonna try to skirt around.
Okay. Sounds good.
Be it mobility.
I think this will also be a mobility. I think the way that it will be different is that the consequences for failing are going to be not as bad as jumping across.
Oh, okay. Oh, drop the die. Okay. There's a 1 success.
Okay. You sort of holding tight to the wall, just kind of like at one point, at its widest point, there's just enough for you to, probably not safely, but you could stand normally on it. But the rest of it, you pretty much have to stay like plastered to the wall, pretty much, just sort of picking your way across, carefully testing your footing on each stair. At a glance, they look stable, but who knows once you actually put any weight on them. You kind of shimmy your way up along the wall, and as you stand there, you kind of glance down and you sort of kind of feel yourself for a second teetering. I'm going to need another mobility roll from you real quick.
Yes. I'm like, maybe this wasn't a great idea. Oh. 1 success and 2 1s on my stress die.
Oh boy. Okay. So, all right. Here's how I think this plays out. Rowe, as you sort of reach out slowly with your leg, kind of testing the stairs. You're about halfway across, so you just got to make it these last couple of stairs. As you sort of test it, you can feel just right away that it's probably not going to hold your weight for very long, but you could make it across. And in that moment, you sort of lean back and then priming yourself to push, and you just go for it. Taking a step, you push off of it. As it collapses under you, you grasp out. Howard and Chess both grab you and pull you onto the stairs. As that chunk of stair collapses, and just you hear it just like clatter down and just sort of scatter over the debris below, echoing up into the staircase.
Remind me to work out with jumps when we get back.
All right, we'll get back. It'll be fine.
Everyone's
all right. We're all right.
I want to look her over and just kind of like examine, make sure she's good, double check, like.
Absolutely. You, as you're sort of listening there for a moment, trying to hear if the noise, hoping against hope that it remains undetected. From somewhere distantly in the hospital, you hear this just guttural, howling cry that sounds nothing like any of the dead that you've heard before. Kit, it sounds familiar. It almost sounds the same as the howl that you heard the pinstriped man utter, but it's not quite the same. It doesn't send that same kind of like bone chilling kind of tingle down your spine.
Good to go.
What's clear to all of you is that something in the hospital is now aware of you.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. Some of them are fucking. I don't. Just keep moving.
Some of them are what?
I don't know. Different, smarter.
Oh shit.
I don't.
All right. You said enough. You said enough. Let's go.
Let's go.
You start kind of like rushing up the stairs up to the second floor, where you do see a plaque on the wall that says it has a whole bunch of different like departments listed, but in amongst them you see laboratory, and sort of quickly looking out into the hallway to check that there's no that it's clear. You see scattered dead that are sort of meandering. A couple of them, the closer ones, seemingly drawn by the sound in the stairwell, but not the large hordes that you saw below. Kit, just at a quick glance, you can tell that you're probably going to be dealing with them in like ones and twos, maybe. Let's see.
I'm gonna pull out my hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And hand it over to Rowe and pull out the hunting knife that I just found.
Okay.
Grab the hammer.
They're like nail pries are sharpened into spikes.
It's kind of cool.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go with this.
To the lab.
Let's see. Okay, so here's, as you are like kind of opening your mouth to respond, I think all three of you vaguely feel like it's very subtle, but you all do feel it, sort of a shudder in the ground.
Shit. All right. Let's get to the lab, start poking around for the doc, and if we need to, we got to find him. That's it. We're finding him, and that's it. So let's get moving.
Okay, you going for speed here? Or you going for stealth?
With the shutter, Howard's leaning towards speed, but he's gonna kind of confer with Kit. And are we running past all these things, or are we trying to be quiet?
if there's any point. They already know we're here.
All right.
Just go.
All right. Row, tighten your shoes. We gotta go quick.
Okay.
All right. You all take a moment to take another breath, and then you just burst out into the hallway, into the corridor as the first of the dead sort of reaches out immediately. Who's the first one through the door?
I still would have been the first through the door.
Okay. It immediately reaches out for you, Howard. I want you to make any roll that you think is relevant here.
Oh yeah, he's getting punched in the face.
Excellent.
8, 10 stress die. One success.
Okay, easy enough. As like it reaches out for you, you're able to like grab the outstretched arm, redirect it into the opposite wall, and just sort of start taking off down the hallway in the direction of the labs. The two of you quickly fall in behind as you charge down, and let's see, I think I want everybody to make mobility rolls for me here.
Yeah.
Great. That is 1 success and a 1 on my stress die.
Okay, all right. So
0 for me.
okay.
That's 3.
Falling apart.
All right.
Falling apart at the seams.
So wow, that's incredible. That's where all your good rolls went, Danny.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're just waiting for this moment. Rowe, as you're running down the hallway, there are dead that are kind of coming out of side rooms that are trying to reach out for you. You're quickly able to just sort of dart around them. You kind of see and hear them coming before they're on you, and you're able to maneuver around. And in some cases, you're able to even like warn Howard that they're coming. Again, mobility is another one I believe you can transfer successes on, as long as you are all kind of attempting the same task. As you kind of yell back, like, watch out in that room, and Howard is able to kind of duck around as some of them lunge out. Chess sort of bringing up the rear a little bit. You said you got 1 success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Then here's basically how this goes. As you are rushing down the hallway, you hear a sort of like a from somewhere nearby. As you're running, you like quickly turn in kind of the direction that you heard the sound, and as you do, you just catch sight of something running on all fours through the next room, something vaguely human shaped, and you recall seeing these in the midst of your escape in Springview. You haven't seen them since, but here there is one. And as you see that, you feel another shudder, this one much more obvious and distinct. And Kit, you hear cracking of like stone and cement as you look, and you can actually see like the wall, like a crack kind of going up the wall where you can see like powdered cement just sort of pour out of it for a moment. It's very clear to you, Kit, something is hitting the hospital, is impacting somewhere. And it's in that moment, as you sort of, just that brief hesitation is all it takes for the one on all fours to just pounce, knocking you both to the ground as you both go tumbling apart from each other. Yeah, what are you doing?
I have the knife in my hand. I'm going for the head.
Okay, go ahead and give me a close combat roll.
Okay. I don't have stats for the knife because I just found it last episode.
It's 1 and 1. So 1 gear bonus,
cool.
and 1 damage.
Cool. Close combat, you said?
Yep, close combat.
Okay. Okay, 1, and then my stress. Okay. That is no successes.
Okay. So, here is a fun moment that I am excited for in this particular instance. This is one of those pages that I should have had open. Oops. Give me 1 second to find this.
No, I add flavor text while you're looking.
Sure.
I think at this point, while we're starting to run and kind of the quote unquote jig is up, Howard's going to start kind of trying to yell for the doc to try to see if they can find him, if he's still alive, especially once the walls start coming down and the room starts shaking. Like, he's going to try to start yelling. And the minute Chess gets bowled over, he's going to be yelling some obscenities at that and then running towards it the best he can.
Okay. So, Allison, I would like for you to roll a D66 for me.
Mm-hmm. 56.
D6.
Where was that 6? A minute ago.
Waiting and hiding.
I think as Howard sees you go down and turns back to like as you unsuccessfully try to like bludgeon this thing or to stab this thing, Howard turns and just in time to see as you like kind of like defending yourself, forced like you're unable to stab it as you're sort of forced on the defensive, trying to defend yourself, putting your arms in front of your face. You see as this thing, Howard, you witness this. You witness the creature grab Chess's arm as it's trying to reach for her and just bite down right on the forearm. The thing that you're seeing is unlike any of the dead that you were seeing. It is faster. It is still human shape, but the arms are somewhat elongated to a point where it's if it was standing, it's almost not quite noticeable, but you would notice that something was off. But you can see as this one is just sort of like scrabbling at Kit, you rush up. Howard, go ahead and give me a close combat roll here.
Howard's yelling at it. When did this turn into Resident Evil? I wouldn't sign up for this. Legally distinct Resident Evil. Wow, that's only one success.
That's all you need. As you run forward, you just reach just with a center kick right to the side of the head as the thing its head snaps to the side as you kick it and it goes tumbling away. You're able to kind of grab Chess and pull her to her feet. There's another shudder as this time very distinctly an impact somewhere close by and below, and the runner just sort of like looks at the two of you, sort of like almost like a circling pack hunter, just sort of like slowly sort of pulls away, regards you, and then just starts running away down the hall again on just sort of a full tilt on all fours.
Back where it came from, or past us?
Back, kind of the direction that you came from, so away from where you currently are.
He immediately will look at Chess's arm and take off whatever.
Go. Just keep moving. I'm fine.
Okay, good news. Let's go.
All right.
And he's gonna just take her word for it and just keep moving.
Sounds good. Yeah, you all continue running down the hallway, and as you are reaching the end of it, you can hear distinctly the sounds of a man's voice in distress, just going, "Help! Help! No! Get away! Get away!" And as you go to the doors towards the end of the hall that are labeled labeled labs / blood work, you kind of push through the sort of swinging double doors into just an open space where there are like the little cubbies where they would draw blood from you if necessary, and then just beyond that you can see another set of doors. These are sort of like sliding glass doors beyond which you can see the labs themselves, and inside you see your very own Doctor Ortega, who is currently holding what looks like a the like those racks that they hold test tubes in, just sort of between himself and one of the dead that's just sort of like and he's like got that in between and he's like reaching over, like reaching for a pistol that is just out of his reach.
Yeah, Howard's gonna barrel in like normal and try to yank the zombie away and throw it.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a close combat roll.
One success.
Okay. Cool. Then oops, that's not what I wanted, sorry. That being the case, you rush in as you just grab the one and just pull it back and just sort of impaling the head on like some like sharp instrumentation that's nearby. Just sort of freeing Dr. Ortega as he just sort of drops the thing that he's holding and just sort of collapses against the desk. Just says, "Howard, you son of a bitch."
Hey Doc, good to see you again. I brought help.
Fuck you. And he just...
Yeah, I've heard that before. Come on.
Yeah.
Did you find what we needed?
He looks at you, he says, "Yeah, I did, no thanks to you."
Yeah, well, you can be mad at me later. Let's go. This whole place is coming down.
He says, no, he, like, suddenly, like, it's almost like he goes from, like, that sort of cloudy relief to suddenly his expression focuses and you can see, like, the color drain out of his face. He says, no, he says, "Yeah, you're right. We have to get out of here right now. There's something in here."
Before we do, my sister, she needs medicine. Like, we need you to fix it. Is there anything here we need?
He goes, "Oh, shit, in my bag, but it's down the hallways, the opposite of the direction we need to go. We cannot stay. Look, there's
I'll
something,
go get the
there's
bag.
something
You get
in
them
this
out."
place." No, you don't understand. He grabs you, Howard. He says, you already fucked up once, okay? Listen to me. There is something in here. I saw it. It is different. At that moment, almost as if to punctuate his words, you feel another shudder, even closer than before, and you see actually some chunks of the ceiling and the wall kind of like collapse down.
We have to get out. I helped you find
Doc,
the guy.
I know I'm a fuck up, but I'm not gonna fuck up twice. So get them and get out of here. And he quick pulls like a letter out of his pack and shoves it at Rowe and said, "These are all the instructions for who you need to trade with to get the stuff that we talked about to use the cartridges." And then he pulls out 2 wrapped bottles. He said, "These are what you need to trade with. Get going."
Okay. And I'm just
What's the bag look like? As he runs out the door.
Okay, sorry. Danny? What did you say?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I said I'm just gonna do what he said, and I'm just gonna start running out the door.
Dr. Ortega looks at you, Chess, and says, "I don't know who you are, but we gotta go."
I just start running.
Just not too far away, you find the emergency exit, which is basically it's an exterior fire escape. As Dr. Ortega leads you to it, he like grabs the fire escape and starts kind of trying to pull the thing, but you can see right away that it's jammed.
Hammer.
Yeah. So I'll need a force roll if you're going to use the hammer you get a gear bonus of 1 with the hammer.
Cool. And I add monstrous dice. Come on, somebody. Okay, that is a 1 success and one on the stress die.
Excellent. See,
Sorry,
this is
say
what
1-1.
this is what I love about this system is that like once the failures start happening, they just keep happening, and it quickly becomes a death spiral. So,
Super reassuring. Thanks.
you're welcome. I just felt like that was an important tidbit for you to have at this particular moment for no reason. Rowe, you hit the hammer against the latch on the emergency exit, and it does nothing. It has no effect, other than to sort of like jostle the. Or you said you did get 1 success.
Yes.
Okay, then never mind. You do hit it, and you can see as you like break through the latch, and you're able to kind of start pulling to the side. You actually, you know what? Here's how I think I'm going to do this. You break through the latch and also the window itself, and as you're pulling it open, I'm going to say that you cut yourself a little bit on the glass. Yeah. So I'm going to say that you take a point of damage. So you're now down to 2. You have you are. It's bruised, is I believe the name of the condition? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. As you just sort of like, basically, I'd say just like right down like the side of your arm, you just kind of like slice open, like.
Legal scrape.
Yeah. Which just immediately starts bleeding as you just like push the emergency exit the rest of the way open, and exit out onto the fire escape.
Yep, holding it open. Come on, come on.
All right.
Right there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Howard, you are sort of running down the hallway. You know what the doctor's bag looks like. He had it before. It's essentially like an old army satchel looking thing. Sort of olive drab canvasy kind of material. As you run into the room, you see several things happen at once. You see the bag just sort of sitting on a hospital bed. You feel another shudder, and you start seeing the floor beginning to give in this room. So I want you to make a mobility roll for me here, Howard.
All right, he's fine. It's fine.
Fine, you got this. Something is not.
Oh, thank you, Fireball die. This was a Kickstarter.
Incredible.
It came with a fireball and a lightning, and it was like one of my first Kickstarters I ever did.
Amazing. All right. So here's how this plays out. As you run in, you see the floor begin to collapse out from this room. As you rush to the bed, you reach over as the bed starts tilting with the floor and the bag starts rolling. You grab at the bag. It starts slipping through your fingers, and just as it's about to, you grab onto like the strap of it and pull it towards yourself. As you start scrambling towards the end of the room, you feel the floor just fully give under you as it all just collapses into the room below. You're trained enough like in tumbling and all that kind of stuff that you're able to kind of stay on top of some of the rubble, and you don't let it kind of like collapse down on you. As you fall, you land and immediately start moving, so knowing that there's going to be more sort of like residual rubble coming down on top of you. You manage to move before that happens, and as you do, you feel the floor shudder and hear something move nearby you, and as you turn, you see something that might have once been humanoid, but its features, most notably its bulk and its height, are exaggerated. You see a mountain of a creature as it is standing nearby, and you can see as it looks at you, it withdraws its fist from the concrete of the wall, and it just stares at you, and then turns and starts stomping towards you. Howard, I'm gonna need that mobility roll.
Oh Lord. 3, 4, 5. Plus my stress. I shit you not.
It's one success.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! We have a 1. We have a 1 on
Oh.
baby stress die.
Oof.
So we have stress die 1 and fireball. 1 success and 1 failure.
All
Oh
right,
no.
Howard, you start running, and the thing is, if this were any other pursuer, you would be well ahead of them, but you underestimate this thing's gait as it takes a couple of steps and crosses the room, and it doesn't quite get to you, and it just flails out with one huge, thick arm as it strikes you across the back and just sends you into the wall as you're running. You also take a point of damage here. As you just get slammed into the wall. You can feel a distinct, like, crack somewhere in your body. But you continue moving, running this thing behind you. Meanwhile, outside on the fire escape, Chess, Rowe, and Doctor Ortega, you feel the shudder and hear the crashing from inside of, like, something of stone, concrete, and rubble collapsing behind you. You feel the fire escape shake and hear the very disconcerting sounds of the rattling of the fire escape. You would guess you probably don't have all that much time to get down.
No, quick feet, quick feet, quick feet.
Yeah. I'm gonna, like, kick the ladder down so it, like, does the slide down
Right.
extension thing.
Very cool. Yeah, the ladder, like, quickly, like, just slides down, unfolding to the bottom. Chess, you look down and you see, the dead are down there. They have not directly noticed you up here yet, but they will notice you the moment you hit the ground.
I'm gonna go first then.
Okay. Chess climbs down the ladder. Quickly, you end up at the bottom. As the first few of them don't really look in your direction, but the closest one, after, like, the noise of everything around, the, like, collapsing rubble sound, the ladder clattering down to the ground here, it turns in your direction, and you see, wearing, like, old, tattered doctor's coat and scrubs, just sort of turns to you, just, missing, like, 3 of its fingers on the hand that it extends towards you. I need you to give me a roll of any kind.
I am gonna try to disappear into the crowd. I'm gonna try to pull them away from the bottom of the ladder again.
Okay, give me
So, survival, I guess.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, one of them went tumbling onto my keyboard instead and was fully in between things. That is, no successes and a 1 on the stress die.
Whew, boy, okay. So that's great. So
No, that is not great. That is the opposite. Great.
this one reaches for you, and as you sort of try to get away from it to sort of just go into the crowd, you feel its outstretched fingers tangle in your hair as you turn, and a moment before you feel the bite onto your shoulder. You shake free of it, just kind of with, like, an instinctually, just with an elbow, just sort of shaking free, and you're able to get away. Rowe, you saw that clearly. That said, the commotion down below, it has drawn their attention away from the ladder, just not in a particularly good way. But Rowe, at least for the next few moments, the ground is clear.
Okay. I just gotta get down. I can't keep staying up here, so I'm gonna get down as fast as I can.
Okay.
We'll deal with the rest as we get there.
Okay, yeah, you climb down. I want you to give me a mobility roll.
Absolutely.
Oh, a thing that I should...
What up?
No, go ahead. You're good. I just need to look something up.
Okay, cool. That is a single success.
Perfect.
And my stress die both rolled once.
Are you serious? This is...
Holy.
Okay. All right. We're really doing it.
We're in it.
Yeah, this is great. We're in the zombie hole.
Oh man, that totally drove out of my mind what I was thinking. Oh, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Where is that? I just gotta make sure because the threat level is definitely higher now. And now I gotta find out what exactly that means here in this context.
It means we're in lots of trouble.
Tiny bit of trouble. A little bit. Oh, it's fine.
There we go. This here. Okay. Threat level is... Yeah. Threat level is definitely 3 here, which is that they are aware of you. All nearby walkers all nearby will shamble towards you, and you must fight to get out alive. All PCs take 1 point of stress.
That's valid.
So valid.
All right. The doctor is not too far behind you coming down the ladder row. As in one hand he's kind of brandishing his pistol, and in the other hand you can see that he's got just a monkey wrench that he's just sort of clasping onto. As the 3 of you sort of kind of move backward, trying to find some place to, put yourselves so that they can't get you start backing yourselves into some sort of corner or against a wall, as you sort of probably skirting the wall of the hospital, keeping them in front of you as much as you can. Inside, Howard, this large monstrosity continues pursuing you. What would you like to do?
Howard's going to look for, if he's running along a hallway and can see any, first floor window, even if it's, like tempered glass or something like that, he's going to try to shoot it out with his shotgun and then dive out the window through the busted window, if that makes sense. He's trying to find something small enough that he can fit through, but the Titan behind him will have to punch through the wall once or twice, hoping to give him a little bit of room. That, he's got to get this bag outside.
Yeah, okay. Valid. Okay. Then as you're running, I'm going to say you kind of glance down into one of the rooms that you're passing, barely registering the things that are happening around you. There are definitely dead swarming near you, but that is fully at the back of your mind as you're just sort of in more instinct than anything dodging through them. You see a window that is probably large enough for you to blast your way through, that it would not be able to follow you through. You, knowing that you dart inside, I'm not going to make you make a roll because you're not doing any kind of precision targeting of any kind here. You just open up into the window, which shatters outwards. But I am going to have you make a mobility roll here just to see if you can get through that window unscathed.
Literally dives into the wall. Alright, this dice has been lucky. Let's try this one. Holy Lord, that's one success.
Whew, all right. So literally, I honestly think it's just you run and literally just dive through the window, kind of dive
Yep.
rolling on the other side. And I actually think that it'll be in a place where Kit, Doctor Ortega, and Rowe are just a little ways up the wall, sort of skirting. You can see that they are in the process of like fighting off some of the dead. You all heard the shotgun blast and turned to see Howard dive out the window, clutching the doctor's bag.
Okay. Is he being chased by more zombies?
Funny you should ask, because as
Not at the
Howard
moment.
like rolls and kind of stands up from the roll in a fluid motion, he kind of like looks over his shoulder and then dives out of the way again as the wall explodes outward. And you all see this towering, hulking monstrosity of a creature just barreling outward, like shoulder down, and to the point where like actually runs well past where Howard is, just its momentum carrying it outwards. It slams into a parked ambulance, and the ambulance teeters on the edge and then comes back as this thing slammed into it, fully denting the side of this ambulance.
Oh boy.
I'm running.
What's our situation right now? Are we surrounded?
Not quite. You're fighting basically. Yes and no. You're surrounded, but it's not thick yet. Like they're coming at you from sort of every angle.
Okay,
But
we have space.
Yeah.
I think we need to move towards Howard. Or towards safety, whatever is close, whatever is obvious.
Howard is
like,
yelling for you to is just to run, like just pointing away from him, just to
area
run.
that looks like open, like if the woods are nearby, or just there's like a clearing of, and the cars are all there, but there's not zombies. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have Kit. I want a. I'm gonna call this a survival roll here.
Okay.
And go ahead and take one extra die each for the other characters and the doctor.
So 3 extras.
Yeah.
And I have my 2 stress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not good.
Okay.
No, I misheard you. I misheard that. So it was good. That's good news.
So that is no successes out of 7, 8, 9, and one on a stress die.
Oh my god. Okay. So, I think this is how I'm gonna say that this plays out. As Kit, you're just sort of like wildly searching around, looking for any avenue of escape from this area. You look over and you can see. This is how I'm gonna handle this. Kit, you see a mostly intact ambulance. It doesn't look like it will run, but there's a chance as you kind of like look at it. You know what? I'll say actually. Tell you what. I'm gonna retcon that real quick. I'm gonna say it's the same ambulance that this thing just ran into, and as it hits, you can see it's definitely not going to run with the damage it just sustained, but you can see as this thing smashed into it, you saw that there was like a flash of a light somewhere in there, indicating that this thing still has battery power. Now where that one is going to come in is unfortunate deja vu. I'm gonna make you roll to handle your fear here. Give me a wits or empathy. No stress dice, just wits or empathy.
Mm-hmm. It's 1 success.
Okay. You for a moment, you are not where you are. You are at a different time, in a different place, but the same situation. The dead closing in around you, people's lives on the line, and you having the ability to reach the fire truck, to turn on its sirens, and you feel that same fear that gripped you when you were inside the cab of that fire truck just rise up in you. And just as it feels like it's about to overwhelm you, you hear a different voice from nearby. And as you turn, you see Casey. Just as she was the last time you saw her, she looks at you and smiles and says, "You got this, Kit. You did it once, you can do it again." That moment, you sort of, it brings you back to present, as you are once again aware.
I'm making a run for it.
Okay. Rowe, you see Chess just take off towards the ambulance, and I think understanding clicks in right in that moment. You immediately can tell what she's doing. As Chess runs for the ambulance, you see this mountainous figure just sort of turn, missing Chess as she sort of, at the exact moment as he turns, Chess goes behind an overturned car. It sort of turns in the direction of you and Howard and the doctor, looking at you. You just hear it just goes, and just start running towards you. I would like for... So here's how I'm going to do this. I need a total of... I think I'm going to need a total of 2 successes. I need everybody to make a mobility roll. But I need a total collectively of 2 successes.
Okay. We can do that.
Okay.
I got 1.
I got 1 also.
Dr.
And
Ortega got 1.
1.
I got 1 and a 1 on a stress die.
Okay. So here's how I'm gonna rule this. As Rowe, you see this all playing out. Dr. Ortega grabs you by the shoulders and pulls you out of the way, like literally pulls you on top of him. Howard jumping the other direction as this thing slams into the wall between you, disappearing inside of the hospital as another shower of rubble and debris and dust just cascades down. The Rowe and Dr. Ortega just sort of scrambling away. You see this last hit that the hospital took was sort of, it must have taken out something load-bearing, because you watch as like this whole section of the hospital starts collapsing. At the exact moment that Kit reaches the ambulance and the siren starts going, drawing all of the dead in the immediate area in that direction. Howard, you see an opening begin to clear.
He hands the bag over to Rowe, especially. Actually, yeah, he hands it to the doctor, and he's like, kind of shoves it into his chest, and then kind of nods at him, and then they got to start going.
Okay. The 3 of you take off into the opening that was cleared by the siren. And the way that, here's how that one is gonna come into play. The siren, Kit, you sit in the cab of this ambulance, having tripped the siren. It is just sort of going off, and sorry, I had a sudden realization that do I have a No, I do not. Okay. I was trying to see if on my soundboard I had an ambulance noise. There was a good chance it was going to, but not this time. You watch the other three make for the opening that you have just given them. At the same moment that the hulking figure just sort of bursts back out of a different section of wall through cascading rubble, and sort of looks around, and the first thing it sees is the flashing lights and the sound of the siren as it just runs towards you. Kit, there's a split second where you briefly considered getting out of the ambulance, and then you realize once you got out, you'd be fucked anyway. So, slamming the door shut, a second before the impact, as the ambulance rolls, and you black out, totally lose consciousness. The other group, you just run. Here's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need a mobility from one person. I'm going to need one close combat or ranged combat, up to you. And I'm going to need one endure.
We will do the close combat. Surprise.
I'll do the ranged combat if that's all right.
No, it's either. I need either a close combat or a ranged combat, and then I need each of the other two.
Doesn't matter. I will do the move.
Great.
Or the mobility.
Cool.
Mobility.
I'll have the doctor do the endure.
Cool. 1 success.
2 from Ortega.
3.
Awesome. The 3 of you working together, alternating between running, fighting, maneuvering, sneaking, you are able to push your way out of this vicinity, and with the sounds of the collapsing hospital and the sounds of the siren, which are suddenly cut short somewhere behind you, you quickly find yourselves free from the press of the dead. Not entirely unharmed, but better than you have any right to be at this moment. It's probably a good hour before any of you feel safe enough to stop moving and catch your breath. But before too long, you find yourselves sort of brought back to the moment as Dr. Ortega just points out what looks like just an old tool shed in the backyard of a house. It says, "In here, we need to catch our breath."
Yeah, let's make sure it's clear first.
Let me actually. You take the precautions that you need to take. Sort of taking a look at this place, sort of tapping on the door from the outside, listening, hearing nothing, cautiously opening the door. While the inside has clearly been stripped for any kind of utility, you can see where things have been rummaged around that with somebody quickly scavenging through the place. At the very least, for the moment, it'll offer you some temporary shelter in a place where you can kind of catch your breath. You pull inside, and Ortega closes the door behind you, and just slides down the door and sits on the concrete floor.
I will join him on the floor, sitting.
Yeah, Howard eventually kind of paces back and forth a little bit, but then we'll sit down.
Did anyone see what happened to Chess?
Ortega shakes his head. He says,
I think
last I saw, that thing was running right for the ambulance. I have no idea if she was in it or not.
she must have been in it. Otherwise, she got the sirens to go off, but I don't know. We wouldn't have been able to do it without her help, and we had to bail on her. And
What was that thing?
I don't know, something
Did they
that's
mute
not
me
supposed to
now?
be
Like,
here.
Ortega shakes his head. He says, After Howard left me, I heard it in there. I even caught a glimpse of it, and then when I tried to leave, and after that I couldn't. I just stayed inside. I have no idea. I've never seen anything like that, or there were others too. Weird, running on all fours. I fuck this world. I thought things couldn't get any crazier.
But you found it, though. You found what we need.
He looks up and goes, "Yeah, I fucking found it." He just kind of like grabs like the other, not the doctor's bag that you were holding, but the backpack, and he just sort of throws it at you. And he says, "What the hell was that? Huh? Alerting all those dead? What were you even looking for? You weren't where you were supposed to be. I looked for you."
You gotta see what's available. You gotta see what you can grab for trade or for otherwise. And I got too far away.
You got too far.
I was looking for booze. Okay, fuck.
There it is.
How do you think I kept the rest of them safe? You think that I trade my knowledge? You think I trade all the schooling that I got? You think that's how this works?
Oh yeah, you got it for trade, and then just conveniently a few sips go missing every now and then. Who cares, right?
Yep. You made it though.
Yeah. I made it. Almost didn't though.
You know what almost counts in, right?
I can't even with this. Can we just not talk and rest and then make our way back?
Yeah.
Whatever you say, Rowe.
Don't worry. As soon as we get back, your sister's my priority, okay?
Thanks.
And he just sort of leans his head back against the wall, and the three of you sort of fall into sort of an uneasy silence. None of you are entirely sure when the last one of you fell asleep, but you do awaken in the morning as birds begin chirping loudly. Dr. Ortega sort of starts awake, just sort of like for a moment you can tell that he's not sure exactly where he is, and then he relaxes a little bit.
All right. Good night's rest.
Best you can hope for.
Let's get back as soon as we can then.
Yeah. He kind of grabs the canvas bag and opens up. Says, "I think." He looks inside. And says, "Huh. And he pulls out a map of the area where he has, you can see there's like pencil markings on it. He says, I marked a location where there was a vehicle. I seem to be in working order.
Yeah, let's go. Take us there.
He stands up and says, look, Howard, before we go out there, I know what you were trying to do. That doesn't change the fact that you put everyone at risk. Me, Candace. When we get back, we're going to have to talk about this. I'm going to have to tell the others.
Something happens to Candace, and we were too late.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'll take responsibility. I got you.
Let's go. And I'm gonna open up the shed door and hold it open for everyone as we leave.
Okay. And I think as the three of you kind of walk down the street, I imagine like the camera kind of panning up a little bit, sort of rising up, sort of looking over the suburbs as you make your way down the street, bound for home. Elsewhere, Kit, you're not sure if you are conscious or unconscious, alive or dead. Everything is just black. You barely are conscious of anything around you. You just exist floating in a void. There's nothing except you look around when you feel a presence, and you see Frankie standing in the empty blackness. He says, you gotta get up. I think you're muted, Allison.
What's the point?
You survive. One step at a time, one day at a time.
Keep doing this.
You hear a different voice. And as you turn, you see Casey. Says, yeah, you can. You've come this far.
For what? I'm still here. I'm still.
You hear a different voice this time, and as you turn back, this time you see Maisel. She says, you know, I was always kind of afraid of you.
Real scary right now, huh?
You hear another voice, and as you turn yet again, you see Gabby standing, and she looks at you and says, how could you leave us? How could you do that?
You left me.
This time there's no answer. There's only the black emptiness gradually you become aware of a sound, just a high-pitched ringing in your ears. And you become aware of sensations, something hard and sharp pressing into your side. Your eyes open and you are hanging suspended from the seatbelt of the ambulance that you don't even remember putting on yourself. You are upside down, just sort of hanging, and when you look up, you can see to see what's pressing into your side. You see you see your knife that is being like pressed into your side by this pressure of the seatbelt against you. You can hear the dead milling about, and as you look around, you can see their legs around the ambulance as they move about. What would you like to do?
Is the knife like fully stabbed in, or is it like sideways, like cutting?
No, it's just kind of like it's basically where it would have been in whatever sheath you had it in, but is now it's sort of fallen out of place a little bit and is being pressed into your side by the seatbelt.
I'm gonna reach for it and slice at the seatbelt.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, but you can feel you've lost some blood and you're weak. You're feeling it as you cut through the seatbelts. You cut through the last few strands of it and fall shoulder first onto the roof of the cab, and you kind of reorient yourself.
I'm gonna look around. Are any of the windows?
Yeah, they're pretty much all busted through at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
The windshield fell out as the cab bent. It's all shattered, but it didn't it's like scattered like spider web kind of pattern, but it's still in one piece, just off to the side. So the windshield is completely knocked out.
I'm gonna crawl out through the open windshield then.
Yeah. As you kind of army crawl out, you stand in the midst of a crowd of the dead, none of which even glance in your direction, as they just sort of swarm in the area, moving about. In a couple of cases, jostling you as they slam into you. No sign of the monstrosity. The hospital, a smoking ruin behind you. No sign of the others either.
I'm gonna try to orient myself a little bit. I'm gonna start walking through the dead.
Okay.
In the direction of the tower.
Sounds good. You wade through the crowd of the dead, all drawn by the sound of the collapsing building and the siren that you set off, and possibly the roars of the monstrous Hulk. You move about, trying not to interfere with their path too much. The next part of your journey passes in a blur, as moments as you pass, much like times before, just sort of seem to skate past you, coming to consciousness at the edge of the hospital grounds, and then again in a residential neighborhood, again on the freeway overpass. As you sort of stare in the direction of the tower, you finally are able to see it. That spire of black slate rising unnaturally from the city's skyline.
What else do I have to lose?
And with that, you walk towards the tower, picking your way through the ruins of Denver. And as you move off, camera pans back further and further until the lone figure of Kit is indistinguishable amongst the ruins of what was once a city within human civilization. And I think that's where we're going to call it.
Beautiful job.
Oh boy. Wow. Danny, Steve, thank you so much for joining us for these for the special episodes. This was awesome.
This was great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It may, by the time this airs, it may have been announced, but I will say it now anyway, that at some point, at a later date to be announced, or which may have already been announced, we will be doing a live Q&A with these folks, talking about these last couple of episodes, and their characters and little tidbits, things that you may not have come up over the course of these couple of episodes. Who knows what can happen. So be looking forward to that. You can find that information when we announce it. It'll probably be on our Discord or on Ramblemancy. You can find it on both of those places. Danny, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Oh yes, hello everybody. Goodbye. I am Danny Gage. If you want to see me roll more dice in a really bad way, you can find me on Twitter at Bitterthorn, and it's a little underscore thingy, or Bitterthorn anywhere on the internet. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, everybody.
Awesome. Steve, where can
Hi,
everybody
my
find you?
name's Steve. I go by Hermes4939 a lot of places on the internet. You can find me on both Twitter and Blue Sky as Hermes4939. And I'm not in much as of right now. So next time I play in something, you can find it posted there. Thank you again.
Awesome. And of course, Allison, they will find you here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Allison. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky now, apparently, as of like 2 days ago.
That's right, yeah.
At Tarot Bull, Tarot Cards, BLE. And you can find me here on future episodes. See you next time.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight. This has been awesome. We will see you either Ramblemancy on Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time right here on this very channel, or on next week on, well, actually, I won't say next week. Next time on Tomorrow is Dead. You will see us right here. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Thank you so much, everybody. Good night and good zone.